believe you see the world clearly, directly, exactly as it is. You do not. Not even close. What you see is a fast, cheap sketch, drawn by your brain in a fraction of a second, and then mistaken for the world itself. A rumor your own mind whispers to you, in the calm, certain voice of an eyewitness who was never there. And right now, before any of this reaches you, 7 small edits are being made to your reality. 7 quiet distortions. And here is the trick of them. You will feel every single one as simple, obvious truth. Because your brain has one job that quietly outranks being right. Keeping you alive. And doing it fast. A perfect picture computed slowly gets you killed. A rough picture, computed instantly, gets you home alive. So evolution made its choice long ago. Fast over true. Your mind runs on shortcuts, and those shortcuts are right, often enough to keep you breathing. But often enough always leaves a gap. And in that narrow gap, between fast and true, live all the distortions. So understand what they are. They are not defects in the machine. They are the machine, working exactly as designed. The standing price of a mind that had to be quick. Here are 7 of them. Watch yourself appear in each. The first. You believe you go out searching for the truth. In fact, you go searching for agreement. Because the moment you believe something, your mind quietly stops being a scientist and becomes a lawyer. Building the case for its own side, quietly burying every scrap of evidence against it. You read the headline that nods at you and skip the one that argues. You keep every hit and quietly lose the misses. You do not gather your evidence, you recruit it. You have felt this, an argument online. You walk away not one bit wiser, only sharper. Better armed for the side you already held, and the machines have learned it about you. They serve you the nod endlessly because your agreement is the thing you click. The second, quickly without thinking, which is more dangerous, a plane or a car. Your gut says plane, and your gut is wrong by a truly staggering margin, because your brain does not weigh danger by the actual numbers. It weighs how easily an example leaps to mind, and a plane crash leaps. Vivid. Filmed from 6 angles. Replayed for weeks. A car crash is just an ordinary Tuesday. So whatever is loud, recent, and easy to picture feels common and true. Whatever is quiet feels rare. Even when the quiet thing is the one taking far, far more of us. Which is why the screen is so dangerous. Whatever it shows you most becomes your quiet sense of how the world simply is. Show a mind enough of any one thing, and it will swear on everything it has that the thing is everywhere. The third, a number. The very first number you hear quietly owns every number that comes after it. Researchers spun a rigged wheel, landed it on a random 10 or a random 65, then asked people what share of the world's African nations sit in the United Nations. The wheel was meaningless. Everyone could plainly see that it was meaningless, yet those who saw 10 guessed around 25%. Those who saw 65 guessed around 45. A random number they knew perfectly well was noise, still bent the truth inside their heads. That is the crossed-out price on the shop window. The first figure named in every negotiation. It is the first salary you are offered, quietly setting your worth for years. The anchor drops, and you drift around it, certain you chose the spot. And it is not only numbers. The very first thing you hear about a person becomes the tint through which you read everything they do next. The first word writes the whole story. The fourth decides who you trust, in a single unearned second. Give a person just one good quality, a handsome face, a warm voice, an easy confidence, and your mind quietly hands them all the others completely free. The attractive stranger seems kinder, smarter, more honest. The confident voice sounds more competent long before it has said a single true thing. One bright trait throws a halo, and everything beneath it glows. You met one thing about them and invented all the rest. And we act on it. We hand lighter sentences to prettier faces. We hire the halo. We vote for the jawline. And it runs in cruel reverse. One ugly trait, and the same mind damns all the rest. Meet a person's worst hour first, and they may never climb back out of it. The fifth you can feel in your chest. 10 people praise your work. One of them sneers. Which one do you carry home with you tonight? Bad is simply stronger than good. A single insult outweighs a whole fistful of compliments. One betrayal erases years of trust. Losing 100 hurts more than winning 100 ever pleased. Because the ancestor who missed one sweet berry simply lived. The one who missed one waiting predator did not. So the cruel word outlives 100 kind ones. The mind files every threat in ink and all its kindness in pencil. The sixth quietly rewrites your own past. Once a thing has happened, it begins to look like it always would. After the crash, the warning signs were obvious. After the breakup, you saw it coming all along. But you did not see it coming. You edited the memory. You quietly rewrote the past so that the frightened, uncertain you was never really there. The terrifying fog you actually stood inside gets repaved in memory into a clean and obvious road. And the experts are no better. After the fact, every crisis was predictable. Every winner was always going to win. And so this one quietly robs you of the only lesson worth having, an honest measure of how little you truly knew. And now, the seventh. The one that quietly locks you inside all the other 6. Because reading all of this, a part of you has been nodding along. Yes, people really are like that. Them. The gullible, the biased, the ones who cannot quite see straight. But researchers asked people one very simple question. How biased are you compared to everyone else? And almost everyone gave the exact same answer. Less than average. Less than most people. Clearer-eyed than the crowd. Then the researchers explained the bias in full, patient detail and simply asked again. And still people insisted. Yes, that surely happens, but not to me. My own view is the clear one. You can see the halo on your neighbor, the anchor under your friend, the blindness in your enemy, and you cannot, will not, find a single one of them in yourself. So here is what it all finally means. The distortions themselves are not the real problem. Everyone alive has them. You cannot delete them. They came installed long before you were born. The real problem is the seventh, the trick that hides the other 6 from the only person who could catch them, you. So hear this as clearly as it can possibly be said. Every bias arrives wrapped in the feeling of being unbiased. It never feels like a distortion. It feels like clarity. It feels like you, simply seeing what is there. And that is the whole con. You will never catch a bias by hunting for a mistake, because from the inside it does not feel like a mistake at all. It feels exactly like the truth. You are not a clear, honest eye that occasionally slips. You are a story-making machine, running on fast, cheap fiction, and calling the story sight. So you cannot win this by simply trying harder to be objective. The warm, satisfying feeling of being objective is exactly the trap clicking shut. You win it A little, and only a little, with one small, unglamorous move. Suspicion of your own certainty. The thought that arrives instantly and feels so obviously, comfortably true, that is precisely the one to stop and search. The person you are certain is a fool. The story that happens to flatter you. The memory that says, "I knew it all along." So do the one thing the mind hates most. Argue the other side, until it actually sounds strong. Go looking on purpose for the fact that would prove you wrong, and notice how badly you do not want to find it. Not to reach some pure, unbiased vision, there is no such thing, for you or for anyone, but to hold your own seeing just a little more loosely in the hand, to let 3 small words back into a mind that was built to keep them out. I might be wrong. You came here to learn how other people fool themselves. Leave, instead, with the far harder thing. The most convincing liar you will ever meet is the quiet voice in your own head that says, "Not me." See what people hide, even from themselves.